All right. All right. So good afternoon. This is episode 3 of Tell Your Story here on the Dispatchers as part of First Responders page. And the creator and my good friend Jim Brown from West Virginia is here. And he and I are going to interview Desi from Northern California. And you, sir, are the president or former president of North
Nope,
Cal?
I'm just one of the board of director members now, and I was on the APCO International Board of Directors and just got off those terms. But right now, I'm just a local board of director member for my local chapter.
Awesome, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have you here this afternoon with us. The episode's going to air Saturday afternoon, and I like what you said. It takes one, and if you would kind of go into that and how that started. What exactly started the ball rolling in California?
Yeah, thanks again for giving me the opportunity. And when I joined this group and I saw the title, I knew that this was an effort that is passionate in many of our lives. Anybody that's been a dispatcher, for a while, this has been one of our mantras, right? Getting acknowledgement as first responders. And so I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to everyone. Hopefully I don't bore anybody in this conversation, but I thought it was important to share, as I shared with James, a little bit about what California did. And I guess I would start off with what James is saying, how important it was that it started with one call. There was a gal named Maribel Stinson. She's from Hanford, California, a small town in the Central Valley. And it really started with her. And she called her local assemblyman and said, I wasn't on the phone call, but I'm sure it was something like, hey, Texas just got first responders. Kudos to Texas. They were first, right? They were leading the charge. Texas just got this. How come California can't have this? And basically the assemblyman said, that's a good question. Let me reach out. And so his office reached out to me, and it started with that one phone call, and his then taking it the next step and reaching out to me. And he started talking to me and wanted to know what I knew and could give me some history about what California has done or has not done. And, kudos to him. Is the more we talked and built a rapport, the more he thought, man, why aren't California dispatchers recognized as first responders? And what can we do? And so he called me, I want to say the 1st of May. And we just kept talking over the next couple of months and doing research, and we kept bouncing ideas off of each other. And it was just really great. The momentum, he never let go. He took it, he ran with it and said, you know what, I'm going to change it. I want to introduce a change for California. I think it's the right thing to do.
So one dispatcher who said, wow, I like what I see in Texas. I want to make it happen here in California. And one member of the state legislature, they're referred to as assemblymen, same here in New Jersey. That gentleman said, you know what, you're right. Why is it that you guys aren't first responders? So here I am. I'm gonna help you. And Jim, your experience was going a little bit different route. You went county by county, getting your local county assembly or your local county government to do proclamations, and then it slowly built up to the state level. So both ways worked, and it really doesn't matter how. It's just getting the ball rolling and taking that step to make the phone call or write the letter or several emails. And you said it was a process, right? I mean, if you don't, did you hear, were there long delays between your phone calls and conversations and whatnot?
It is, there are delays. Our bill that my conversations with the assembly member's office wasn't the only conversations he's having with folks. So there were delays, and there were several times during a 5-month period where I kind of thought, we're going to fall off the radar. It's going to take too much energy. We're going to lose steam here. And again, let me share with you that it's politics. So, you got to understand that, these politicians, they are politicians, and they have to make decisions that they have to invest in things they think they can win. Obviously, they got to be good. They have to feel good about it. They have to think it's the right thing to do. But, no politician wants to go up there and lose. So, I'm sure that he had to, be committed to win this and feel like he could. And again, what we really found was finding that right person, finding that right assembly member who said, I believe in this. Here's the weird twist of fate was he had colleagues that once he put this out to the state assembly and said, look, I'm looking at doing this bill, and I'm looking for co-sponsors. Anybody interested? Let me just tell you, it grew like wildfire. I think in the end of the day, there were 70 co-sponsors, and I might even have been low. I mean, people came out and said, yes, we want this. Yes, we want this. Yes, we want this. And we support it. We had some assembly members from the Southern California area that were ambulance dispatchers. And they were saying, man, that's how I started my career. I totally get how this is. We should, I'll stand behind this effort. And obviously, we just grew. And that was something that worked out really, really well for us, was that once the momentum started building, it almost kind of had a life of its own.
And did you have any pushback from the other first responders, the firefighters or police officers, EMTs, the street guys and gals?
I want to be politically correct here and not step on any toes. But we had some pushback. We didn't have, it wasn't unanimously supported. I will say that we did, as maybe probably expected by most, law enforcement was more highly supportive of it than the fire service, and that doesn't mean that the fire service wasn't supportive. But let me just tell you, and I think it's important to talk about that, is that one of the reasons that we had some roadblocks was as soon as you mention first responder status, the immediate tag into that is retirement benefits. And, as soon as you start messing with first responder and retirement benefits, and they have to protect what they deserve as well. And so, they had some legitimate concerns about how this could water down or burden the California retirement system. And so, legitimate concerns from them. Okay, they sometimes they push back a little bit. There's no doubt. We did get some pushback from some of those services.
And I'm just to clarify, the reason why I'm asking that is not to start any kind of battle royales between the services, but more of a, if you experience this as you start your campaign in your state, expect it. It's going to happen. But, looking for guidance as to how to react to it. And, how did you guys react to that? And I'm sure there was also just as many police, fire, and EMS personnel who are on the other side of the spectrum, which is very supportive of your efforts.
So I think that's probably important. I should segue into another thing that I would like our members of our group to know, and that is be prepared to negotiate. When we started this effort, we wanted first responder status, and in all it meant, maybe it was retirement. Clearly, that's something that we all feel strongly about. But we had to look critically at what we were going to ask for. And when we started to get pushback from the other services, and I'm lumping, I'm not pointing anybody out, I'm trying to keep, from the other public safety groups, we had to think about where we were going to negotiate. And there was a time where we thought, look, I'm keeping it real with dispatchers. There was some of us that thought, hell no, we won't go. We're not negotiating. We're not going to take a step back. We're not going to move backwards. And we all got that. But then, after we cooler heads prevailed and we thought about what's the goal, we did change this law, and we did, obviously it did morph. And so what ended up going forward to the legislature was a bill that recognized dispatchers as first responders. But we had to accept some language and propose some language that said that this law would not automatically provide for enhanced retirement benefits.
And so that's not something to say, oh, that's it, throw your hands up in the air
right.
and say, and walk away. That's okay, we get it, we're cool with that. Let's do this. And future legislative groups, and basically that's another battlefield for another day.
It's another, I love what you said there, James. It's exactly the way we approached it. Was, let's take an incremental approach. Let's get past this line. Let's get to the plate. We'll start to swing at the ball, but if I don't get in that batter's box, I can't move any forward there. So we really took the approach of let's get there. Let's get recognition. This is good for the state, and let's not get discouraged. And don't get me wrong, the naysayers, when you go tell people, hey, this bill, the first question we got from members when our colleagues, when we said, hey, we want you to support the 911 legislation that we're proposing, their first question out of almost everyone's mouth is, what's in it for me? What do I get? Right?
Same
what's
here in New
benefit?
Jersey, buddy.
Right. So, we had to kind of lower expectations. Listen, we're going to get you acknowledgement that you're a first responder, and we have to take this approach. And of course, for some people, they didn't want that. But again, in the end of the day, it was the right move. It got us to where we needed to go. And let me just tell you how this plays out was, and I know that many of us here are dealing with the vaccine rollout. And if California, dispatchers are first responders. So as we're rolling out the vaccine, most California dispatchers are going to be offered with other first responders the vaccine. I got my shot just the other day, my first shot the other day, and many California dispatchers are getting theirs in the next couple of weeks because we're at that rollout phase. There's no doubt in my mind that being recognized and saying, hey, California state law has recognized me as a first responder. When you do first responder rollouts, we're first responders.
That's awesome. And that's huge because, if we're not in that room, who's orchestrating the daily
right.
operations? Who's, we're the, conductors.
Right.
And the band don't play when there's nobody waving the arms, so we need that shot to protect ourselves because we're going into work, close quarters. And the officers coming in and out of the station, so if they're carrying it, they may, a lot of agencies, including my own, we're locked down, no one's allowed in or out, slide the paper underneath the door kind of stuff. But it's still we need to be protected. And so that you bring up a very good point, that having that status now puts you in that category so that you're first of the line, head of the line to get the vaccine. And Jim, you mentioned before how you get the first responder status so that when laws come up like post-traumatic stress injury and stuff, we're automatically going to be able to be considered because we're part of that group. Where as still part of the secretarial group, we might get overlooked for things like that.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. Now, here in West Virginia, I was told from the start that there was going to be a lot of opposition, and they wasn't for it because of the PTSD legislation.
Oh, we lost your audio, dude.
Yeah.
Jim, you may have to cut and come back.
Head. Okay. I didn't worry about negative remarks that discharge, and had a lot of help in the state of West Virginia and ended up the legislature passed it without a single negative vote, and it then went to the governor's office.
That's awesome, Jim. Unfortunately, we lost a little bit of your audio, but but yeah,
We got the important stuff. I mean,
we
it
got
was,
yeah. I mean, it's awesome that once that ball got a head of steam behind it, not a single legislator was against it in the state of West Virginia, which is awesome, and that should be encouraging to our members, and that's the whole purpose of our interviews with yourself, Shauna, and Jim here, the creator of the page, is to get people to understand that it is a work in progress. There's going to be hills and valleys. There's going to be setbacks and challenges, and yeah, some of your colleagues are going to be what's it for me? I want it all. And you have to say, like you said, cooler heads must prevail. Let's get the first responder status, and down the road we might be able to take bigger bites and get additional benefits.
Yep, absolutely. And I would like to say, and tying off of something that Jim just said, where he talked about the efforts to lead this, I will say that it takes a village, right? That this was not my effort. This was not a Desi thing. Desi didn't. I didn't do it. This was a core group of probably about. It ended up being about 30 or 40 of us, and California has a strong APCO chapter and a strong NINA chapter, but they really don't do much together. We're totally separate. But this effort united us in the sense that we were all united in this front. NINA and APCO were step in step, and the members of the board of directors of the local California chapter of NINA were front and center, and they really were 100% in. APCO was in. Obviously I'm on the APCO side of the house, so I can say we were in. But it was a village. It definitely took all of us. I'll even give one thing that NINA did that I thought really paid some dividends for us, and I know that most people can't do this, was that NINA hired a consultant to help us navigate this legislative arena. I mean, it was not area that we're used to playing in, right? So
yeah, and sometimes you need that,
yeah, it definitely paid off for us when we ran into the opposition from some of the others. That's where we got our guidance. That's where we learned, hey, we've got to negotiate here. We've got to give a little bit. We've got to think about this and rethink our kind of the way we move forward. And so, for those of you that are thinking about doing this, I guess I want to make sure, even if you're not a joint chapter, which, we know there's plenty of APCO NINA joint chapters, even if you're separate chapters, California couldn't be more separate, but we work together. We got to be united. There was no NINA badge, no APCO badge when we came to this. It was the 911 profession, and all of our colleagues on both sides of the fence were front and center.
And I think they take their lead from their membership. So if the membership voices the similar concerns and want, hey, let's reach out and let's work together. I mean, there's a lot of our members that probably aren't members of either group, but definitely, start getting organized, start your efforts, and then, reach out to NINA or APCO, either one or both. I recommend doing both, because they have the expertise and some of, like you said, the connections and the, possibly the resources to get the consultants, because like you said before, they're politicians and it's all about politics, and they want to know that they can win. And so you need some of that resources. Like in here in New Jersey, we have a New Jersey 911 operators group page, a group Facebook page just for 911 dispatchers in the state of New Jersey. And that's how we communicate with our efforts on how we're going about trying to become first responders in the state of New Jersey. And the New Jersey NINA is working with our group on that. And like you said about how different areas have different types of chapters, New Jersey's part of the Atlantic APCO chapter, which covers New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, like the Northeast, East Coast.
Right.
So, and I definitely probably had to do a more better job of reaching out to that organization to see if they can assist us down here in New Jersey. But it's all about, like you said, it's a village, and it's not one person, but it's a group effort to move the ball forward.
I want to throw out that I thought it was real interesting. And Desi said in his first few minutes, it's all about politics. Well, when I knew that I was going to run into opposition, I kind of put my thinking cap on and the light bulb went off. And I said, well, I was talking to the group. It wasn't like I was talking to them, but let me tell you, you will have politicians that are in the legislature that are tuned in to what we're trying to do. And I said, okay, well, that's all right. This is a political year also. People may want to go back in office, or maybe they don't. And I just left it at that.
As far as trying to identify the right guy to maybe reach out to.
And that's, I guess, getting back to California's Maribel Stinson. I don't know that she was active. She wasn't really active very much in APCO stuff. She might have been in NENA, but I guess it wasn't really important because she was, again, getting back to that one call, she reached out to her local person. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, maybe you don't know the politics of the person of your local assembly member, it doesn't matter. Reach out, make the conversation, start it. Say, listen, how come I can't get this? You are one of their stakeholders. You are one of their folks. Reach out to them, and you have a voice. I think that I always like to see a whole state do it, because I think obviously I'd love to see dispatchers represented statewide. But even if you got to do it county by county, we see lots of places that are doing that. Colorado's doing that right now. Colorado's been working really hard county by county, and
Montana, I believe.
Montana,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma, exactly. And I think David Hartzall even had posted that one comment where he said, call your assembly member, and I guess reaching out to the people of Oklahoma saying, absolutely, don't be discouraged. We're all in 911 here, right? And how many times have we taken a call of that, of that car parked illegally, that someone that's an annoyance, and we dispatch a cop out 25, 100 times. Well, it doesn't matter, right? And every single time it's gone on arrival, or the cop blows it off, or whatever it is. Maybe they cite them. But every once in a while you go there and you send that one cop who runs the plate, doesn't like what he sees, puts his flashlight in the car, sees something weird, starts knocking on doors, finds a bunch of dope, finds a kidnapped person in the trunk, and creates a big call, right?
Yeah.
It all starts with one call. I mean, sometimes those calls go to nowhere, and sometimes those calls end up being you solve the unsolved mystery. I mean, this is our line of work, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And how many times do we call or leave a message to an assembly person, and they may go unanswered, or that might be the call that launches your successful campaign within your state. That is an awesome example. I love it. And so, yeah, no, I just really enjoyed having you on today, and sharing your story, sharing the story of your state, and how that simple phone call led to so much more. And that's what I think that we should all leave this episode on, is pick up the phone, sit down at your computer, send off that email, and make that phone call, and see if you can get that ball rolling.
Yep. And remember, it takes a village. You're not going to do it alone. You're going to need your partners, so don't be afraid to reach out. And then I would leave it with, be prepared to negotiate. And remember, that old saying, someone said, you eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? Get to the table, get in the batter's box. If you never make it to the batter's box, you can't take a swing. We in California, we are going to be looking at, there's no doubt we're already looking at, how we can get some type of benefit down the road. But we're already first responders. You're not going to take it away from us, right? We're there.
That's right.
We got it.
You're no longer secretaries.
Exactly. And then let's
And we
support
never
the
were.
national effort, right? And then we got the national effort, right? 911 Saves Act appears to be picking up steam. I know that both internationals, NINA and APCO, are both committed to working that on the federal, on the the national level for us. But let's not remember, and I want to leave it with this on that. Even when that effort comes up on the national level, just because your state has it, don't give up on the national side. It's better for us to be recognized nationally.
Well, it needs to be both. Like, we really need to run both sides of this, because as Jim talks about the so many times, that we've all talked about all the other benefits that a lot of people, the first thing is, what about me? All those other benefits, some of those benefits come at the state level, and the state's responsible and in charge of those benefits, and some of it is at the federal level. So
right.
You kind of need both, so that all those different benefits that we're talking about and eyeing for the future, you need this 911 Saves Act at the national level, and you need your local state laws that that put us into the next category, in the first responder category. So that's an excellent point, and that's something that we need to do, is get our members primed and ready to get marching on the federal bill once we hear news, and I hear it's getting close, that we'll be getting updates on the 117th Congress attempt at passing the 911 Saves Act. So Jim, Desi, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your story with us today. And yeah, I think that we should close on that.
All right. Thanks for the invitation. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Yep. Take care. Jim, last final thoughts?
Just a great meeting, Desi. Just so glad to meet you. Anytime people from California have any input, all they got to do is let us know, because there is not a stupid question or anything like that. Every little bit benefits.
I have a lot of love for West Virginia. I have a good friend, Dave Saffel, who's out there in West Virginia. And so you got some good peeps up there. Thanks for everything you're doing too.
Thank you.
All right.
See you guys
care,
later.
everybody.